Aberration. Arguably one of Ark's toughest maps. I challenged myself to survive 100 days and fight Alpha Rockwell on day 100. And this is hardcore mode, so if I die, it's over. So strap in and watch my descent into insanity. Day 1 started out wonderfully as I was immediately bullied by raptors, but with my quick thinking I hopped up on a ledge until they got distracted by a doed, so I took that opportunity to run for my life. I gathered some materials and you'd think with all of these rocks I could pick up one of them, but no. After about 10 minutes of playing I finally found a stone. Yes! So I began crafting some basic tools in the shelter. After that I made some narcotics, and with that I survived my first night. Only 99 more to go. Day 2 I crafted a spyglass with the crystal collected from an earthquake. Went over to a purple crate, but a spino was guarding it, so I noped out. But then I made a refining forge so I could start getting better gear. There was this moss chops at my base, and it wanted rare mushrooms. Luckily I had some on hand, so I tamed it. And she was a pretty good berry farmer too, might I add. Next I made a boat so I could kill some raptors and isolate the pack leader for an easy tame. When my raptor finished taming, I named it Reginald. When we arrived back at base, I crafted a smithy along with some metal tools. Reginald and I decided to kill a carcanos for its organic polymer, so I could make some ghillie armor. By then I had enough narcotics to tame this stego. It took forever, but I did it. There we... oh, uh-oh. Crap. While waiting on it to tame, I got to work on this Doedicurus before finding a bulldog and taming that too. I had the high ground, so I killed this spino who was stuck in a wall. Sure, it was a cheap shot, but I needed the XP. When my stego and Doedicurus finished taming, we got to work farming materials for the house I was gonna build. And the rest of the day was spent building. I felt like the house is coming along well. Yep, everything was coming along real well. By day 5, the outside was pretty much finished, so I started moving my stuff in. Once again, I had the high ground, so I knocked out this level 95 spino. There we go. When it tamed, I named it Chip, and we went back to base before crafting a saddle and causing utter destruction. I needed a gas collector so I can make a hazard suit, but to make a gas collector you need red gems, and the only place you can harvest them is in the red zone, which the only safe way to get there is with the hazard suit. You see the dilemma? So I had to steal red gems from these roll rats until I had enough for one. Until this ravager started attacking us, so I tried to tame it, but accidentally killed it instead.
I see trees of green, red roses too.
Once I had collected all the red gems I needed, I knocked out this high-level ravager. Once it tamed, I named it Riot and then crafted that gas collector, before going on a much-needed metal run, and by then I had enough resources to make a fabricator along with a generator. Later that day, I was searching for a good level carcanos, but instead came across an alpha carcanos. So I killed it, which gave my spino some pretty good levels. During my search, I came across a level 130 that I would be glad to tame, but these guys need to be knocked out with boulders, which makes the taming process a bit more tricky. Once I had the necessities to tame it, I went over and didn't tame it.
I see trees of green.
So you have to hit it on the body or the head, and unfortunately, I hit it on the legs way too many times. But that's fine, I can just kill another alpha carcanos and feel like I accomplished something. I trapped this level 70 carcanos. This time I ran out of boulders and had to go back and make more, but I did tame it and named it Mr. Grabs. Go ahead, try to think of a better name. I'll be waiting. Ark Survival Evolved never fails to amaze me. So now I need to make a carcanos saddle, which I needed blue gems, so we took a trip to the blue zone. You'll want to have a light pet down in the blue or red zone, or else these little crap disturbers, who shall remain nameless, will spawn and ruin your life. After getting my armor demolished by an Arthur and collecting the gems I needed, we hightailed out of there. By day 11 we made it back to base and I crafted my carcanos saddle. We hopped up on a ledge to tame this high level spino, but it decided to kill itself against my spike walls instead. No! Luckily, there was another high level close by. It was difficult because my crab got stuck in the bear trap, so me and the Spino just opted to play Ring Around the Rosie until my crossbow broke. I had to go back to repair it, and then I finally got it knocked out. When it tamed, I took it out for some leveling, and the fish were not ready for what I was about to unleash upon them. Later I found a female Spino, and although it wasn't a great level, I still wanted to tame it so my males could have a mate boost whenever we go into the rock drake trench. I'm not sure how, but Billy was murdered. I'm guessing it was the Ravagers that did it. Eventually, my new Spino finished taming, so I took it out for leveling, and while I was at it, I collected some resources for a hazard suit. See these mushrooms right here? If you step on them and don't have the right mushrooms to combat the effect, or over 400 HP, you can kiss your world goodbye. After almost dying to some stupid mushrooms, at this point I had 2 full sets of hazard gear, 3 Spinos, 4 cryopods, and 6 climbing picks. I was ready for the rock drake trench. We eventually encountered our first rock drakes guarding the path and took care of them no problem, so that was a good sign. The first 2 eggs I found were pretty garbage, so I kept looking until I found this.
Oh, yes. That's the one.
And with that, we went home. And of course on the way home I picked up an Ankylo. Literally. They're great metal and crystal harvesters, which is just what I needed. On my way back, however, a couple of Spinos decided to ruin my life by killing my Ankylo. Not only did they kill my Ankylo, but they killed Mr. Grabs too. I nearly died too, but my climbing pick saved my life. I wasn't gonna take this. I had to stand up for myself. After that, I arrived back at base and crafted a few air conditioners, and I was gonna have to do a lot of grinding if I wanted to incubate this rock drake egg. But we're gonna put that on the back burner for now because my priority is getting another Carcanos, and I trapped a level 90, only to kill it in the taming process.
I see trees of green.
But not to worry, as I found another one. This time I actually knocked it out. While waiting on it to tame, I grinded for some air conditioners. When it finished taming, I named it Red Lobster, despite it not being red or a lobster. And the first rule of order with my new Carcanos is to tame a Stego, since my other one was viciously killed. Second rule of order is finding an Ankylo to tame. I grabbed 2 and tamed them both. Once we arrived back home, I began grinding for some more air conditioners, and I made sure to get enough red gems for a rock drake saddle. 13 air conditioners. You would think that might be enough to incubate an egg? Well, it isn't. So that means my dinosaurs need to do more manual labor. And no, 15 air conditioners wouldn't be enough either. I'm sure these little otters wouldn't mind helping. After using all of the air conditioners in the tri-state area, my egg finally started incubating. When it hatched, I named him Raymond and went out to collect some nameless venom. The rest of the day was spent waiting on Raymond to grow up, and by the end of the day, he grew up. I spent practically the entire day flying around on my rock drake because it's so fun. And I took my first trip over to the surface to get some supply drops. If you didn't know, the surface is full of radiation and will kill you in seconds during the day, so it's only safe to go during night, but you still have to watch out for these big boys. Not much happened the rest of day 21, but I did kill a basilisk for its scales, so I guess that's cool. I also did some metal farming, and we all know that's really exciting. Day 22, I ventured into the red zone to search for a high-level Megalosaurus to tame. After destroying some low-level ones, I found a level 100 male, which wasn't really what I wanted, but I figured I should tame it anyway. Almost immediately after taming it, I found a level 120, so I had to tame that one too. And I found a dung beetle, which I easily tamed. When my Megalo finished taming, my game crashed. I'm kinda surprised it didn't crash earlier, to be honest.
Alright. I think if I jump off, I will end up down there. So, we'll see if we can get Rat to follow me this way and not die. Uh-oh. Oh, crap. No! No!
This is why you should probably keep some extra hazard gear on you.
Okay. Oh crap. Come on, Raymond. Come on. Come on, don't let the jellyfish do that to you. Oh shoot. Alright, we're good. We're good. We're good. We're good. We're good. We can do this. We're good. Come on. Come on. Come on. Okay. Alright. We're good in the neighborhood.
By the next day, I had collected enough resources to make an industrial forge. It was too big to fit in the house, so it had to stay outside, just like your mom. I also decided to just completely move base to another location that I liked better. It had crystal, metal, and safety from ravagers, so it was amazing. There was a brief period I wasn't recording on day 20, and that's how I got this rock drake egg. I hatched twins and I named them Andy and Ollie. So my new base location wasn't really close to water, so it took me an entire day to reach pipes all the way up to my new base, but it was worth it in the end. By day 25, I was packing up my favorite tames and took them over to the new base. The rest of them can just relive Home Alone for all I care. They actually kinda did relive Home Alone because I would sometimes just see them kill a Ravager or something. My twins were all grown up now, so I took one of them out for leveling, and I was gonna pump all the levels into weight for transportation since I was moving my stuff from my old base to the new one. It's day 26 and I wanted to make a chemistry bench, but for that I needed electronics, and for that I needed silica pearls, so I found myself rummaging in Bikini Bottom for pearls. It was humiliating, but it was 100% worth it. I also made a cliff platform. I think they're pretty cool and I could overlook my land. There are 171,146 words in the English language, and none of them can describe my disappointment. I found this megalo shortly after, so that makes me feel a bit better. See right here? These are stone arrows. They kill things instead of knock them out. By then, it was too late to switch and the damage was done.
I see trees of green.
Well, there's a higher level megalosaurus right there, so let's hope I don't screw this up. Hey, I didn't! Day 27 through 30 was a 90% night, which meant it was the best time to go to the surface to get dropped, so that's basically all I did those days. Day 30, I went over to collect my megalo who had finished taming, and then I killed this alpha carcanos before finding another high level male. I didn't tame it, but looking back, I guess it wouldn't have hurt to tame. Back at base, I grinded resources for an industrial grinder, so I could grind for resources instead of grinding for resources. I went down to look for any good rock drake eggs, and yes, I pulled this level 170, but someone's mother wasn't going to let me get away with it without a fight. When I got back, I tested some of the weapons I got on the surface a few days prior, and they were pretty good. I named one of my megalosauruses Earl for a very good reason. By the end of the day, I had what I needed for an industrial grinder, so now I could grind more to grind less. And just like that, it was an instant classic. With all those resources, I treated myself to an industrial grill. Once again, I went back out to look for a female megalo so I could start raising my army. I found this level 90, so I figured I'd try taming it. Well, that didn't work, so I guess I'll add an elevator to my base and consider why I'm so bad at taming things. I ended up back in the blue zone and encountered some freezing spores and almost got wrecked. But I did find a max level Anki and there was no way I would pass that up. Needless to say, its pathetic attacks were no match against my Trinks. While waiting on it to tame, I found what I was actually looking for. A high level female megalosaurus. So obviously, I chose to tame it. While waiting on them both to tame, I found another high-level megalosaurus, so I tamed that one too. When everyone was finished taming, I took them back to base and began breeding. Day 35, I tested my newly acquired armor from the surface. This may not be the best way to test your armor. Later that day, I made a toilet and that was a wonderful experience. Born to poop? Forced to wipe. The next day I spent some time raising some baby megalos before making an industrial cooker. This is the best place to put a toilet. Period. I'm low-key upset there isn't a mullet option in this game. I made my way over to the old railway cave to collect the artifact of the depths. I practically waltzed in and retrieved it since my megalo is crazy strong. On my way out, I stumbled upon a high-level glowtail, so I tamed it. Day 37 was a 90% night, which meant I dropped everything I was doing to go look for supply crates. I managed to get this Ascendant Megalosaurus saddle blueprint, which was amazing and expensive. Instead of immediately going back out to the surface, I farmed some blue gems for a Hazard Pants blueprint I found. Day 38 was mainly spent raising babies, and I can't help but love raising babies, you know? At the end of the day, I went back out to the surface to look for some more supply drops. Day 40, the fun was over and it was time to get back to the grind. Day 41, I spent my life savings crafting a couple expensive megalo saddles. After that, I went out to collect some organic polymer for an assault rifle, but I got distracted by a level 125 basilisk, which I needed a rock drake egg to tame. On my way to get one for my base, I had a wonderful experience. Taming a basilisk is pretty easy. All you have to do is throw an egg in front of it and he'll eat it. By now, I had quite the army of megalosauruses raised and they needed to be leveled, so I spent pretty much all of day 42 leveling them up. But you know, running around killing random dinos just wasn't working for me, so why not kill Reaper Queens to level them up? I mean, what's the worst that could happen? Well, I guess I didn't expect 3 Reapers to show up. And that's how I lost an entire squad that day, and it was all my fault. I think I could have actually won, but my Rock Drake's Topor was rapidly rising, and if it gets knocked out, it's game over for me. Looks like killing random dinos wasn't so bad after all. Okay, but look at these damage numbers. I cannot believe I'm still leveling up Megalosauruses. Okay, on to something more interesting, like crafting bullets. Yeah, that's pretty interesting, huh? Day 46 started with some Megalo breeding since I was now missing 5 of them, and they need to be leveled. This isn't fun anymore. Yep, day 47, still on my grind, killing dinos, collecting explorer notes, leveling up. Yeah, the good stuff. Not the good stuff. Not the good stuff some more. In the evening, I went up to the surface to get some of the good stuff. Okay, the good stuff wasn't all that good. Never mind. Day 50, I crafted some scuba gear in preparation for the hidden grotto cave. I found this level 120 Sarco and I figured it would be a good tame for the water part of that cave, so I knocked it out. Only for it to be bullied by a crab, and only for me to accidentally kill it.
I see trees of green.
To make matters worse, something killed Lenny.
Oh my goodness. I can't take it anymore.
Once I figured I was ready for the cave, I went inside. There were many seekers, but I easily took care of them. I cannot latch on to anything, so I am going to ghost about 5 feet. Right here, and we're gonna pretend that didn't happen. After clearing out more enemies with my overpowered weapons, I made it to the scary underwater part, and then a Carcnos literally just phased through the wall. After making my way through the underwater area, I did some more climbing and then ziplined over to collect the artifact. On my way back, I noticed just how pretty this cave was. Day 52, I found this big old monkey and I wanted to tame it. Everything was going fine until this Titanoboa came and ruined everything. My life is falling apart. But you know what isn't falling apart is this trap I made for a Reaper Queen. I killed it for its pheromones, but the bag just got Thanos snapped out of reality, so yeah, that's great. So I trapped and killed another. I got them this time, but I still needed more as tribute items, so I killed another and Ark was just trolling me at this point. Alright, take 4. Alright, well, I have all the pheromones I need now and it only took 4 Reapers. Since I was tribute hunting, I searched for an alpha basilisk, but instead found a level 145 basilisk. So I went down to the rock drake trench to get some eggs, and I found a level 180 while I was down there, and I was for sure gonna hatch that. Now that I was supplied with eggs, I went over to tame the big wiggly boy. I'm not sure what these stats should look like, but they looked good to me. The rest of the day was spent collecting tribute items, and I found this max level goat thingy, so I tamed it. The next day I searched for a good level Reaper Queen so I could get a Reaper King of my own. I didn't find any, but I did find a Perlovia and scared the crap out of me. Back at base, I decided to upgrade my stone foundations to metal. And yes, it was expensive. Day 55, I leveled up my basilisk, and it could kill a Carcanos no problem and somehow teleport 50 feet in the air.
What the?
I also killed a basilisk to try to get an alpha to spawn. You can probably guess I didn't see an alpha basilisk for a while. The next day I spent a lot of time building onto my cliff platform trying to make it look nice, but it didn't. But yeah, all of day 58 was spent building, and I think it's coming along nicely. Wait a minute, I said that about my other house and I completely abandoned it. I took a break from building to farm drops for the next few days. And yeah, I'm glad I did. Day 59 does exist, but it's boring. However, the next day I grinded up a bunch of things I didn't need and got a whole lot of raw materials. Insert capitalism joke here. Insert Texas joke here. But in all seriousness, I felt the damage was a little bit underwhelming considering how much my simple pistol did. My cliff platform area was pretty much done and I was really liking how it looked. I hatched another rock drake egg that I got previously and I couldn't think of a name. When I glanced at my other monitor, I saw the word geometry. And there we have it. Okay, something needs to be done about these spores. Please! Day 62, good old geometry was raised, and I took him out for a spin in search for an alpha basilisk. However, I was embraced by sweet disappointment himself when I returned empty-handed. Maybe the real alpha basilisk was the friends we made along the way. I found myself on the surface collecting drops. I'm pretty sure I was just looking for an alpha Reaper King. But then I found this max level dire bear, so of course I tamed it. I accidentally killed it. Every time I'm at my base, I'm blasted in the eyes with the brightness of a quasar, so I placed a bunch of shag carpets to alleviate the reflections. You may think I'm overreacting, but look at that! I started off day 64 getting nothing done, until I realized I had a bunch of charcoal at my old base, so of course I made a crap ton of gunpowder with it. I did something no other Ark player has ever dreamed of doing. I crafted a camera. And with that camera, I took a picture of my 4 rock drakes and my base. And I uploaded that picture onto a canvas. I must say, it was a pretty wholesome moment. The next day I did some base decorating because it was in some dire need of some pizzazz. Not only did my base get a makeover, but my weapons and armor did too. Day 66, I made a greenhouse so I could do some gardening. Note to self, don't build them this big. It's friggin' expensive. Day 67, I still haven't found a Reaper King, so I explored the surface to find one. And no, there was no shortage of Reaper Kings up here whatsoever. See this arrow? That means this boy is alpha boosted, which means there's an alpha Reaper King nearby. That's a big boy right there. I probably shouldn't fight this thing on my rock drake alone, so I brought some megalos in to help me fight it. It was gonna be me, or this Reaper. Only one of us was going to make it to live another day. Yeah, I think I have pretty good chances with these numbers. Okay, that was way easier than I thought it would be. But then I found another Alpha Reaper King, but I decided to spare his life that day. Until I did a dino wipe so I could hopefully get an Alpha Basilisk to spawn. Day 70 started with me collecting drops, but that's not important. What is important was I did the Elemental Vault Cave, and it's pretty much impossible if you don't have a Rock Drake, but if you do, it's kinda easy to be honest. The artifact wasn't spawned in, so I cleared the immediate area of any dangers and reloaded my game. Except that made the creatures reload, and I was in a Megalo's mouth when I spawned in. Now I'm not proud of doing a dino wipe here, but if the artifact had just spawned like it was supposed to, I wouldn't have left and this wouldn't have happened. So I feel like it's pretty justified. I guess I could have just waited for the artifact to spawn, but I didn't even think of that at the time. Day 74, I took my high-level basilisk out for some levels because I was going to bring him into the Rockwell arena. And speaking of which, I prepared for by crafting some bullets and consumables. And then I went out for like the 7,000th time looking for an alpha basilisk. While I was searching, I found this level 125 Reaper Queen, so I set up a trap, only to end up trapping a level 145. At this point, I can only feel emptiness, and that emptiness becomes filled with embarrassment and disappointment. Alright, let's try this again. Okay, it wasn't even glowing pink, so I'm not sure whose fault this was. Ooh, a level 145 Reaper. Let's see how I inadvertently screw this up.
Are you kidding me?
You know, looking back, it's kind of funny, but the pain was real.
Are you kidding me?
Nothing else cool happened on day 76, but on day 77 I spotted an Alpha Reaper again. This time I decided to kill it. I figured I could use the XP to level up my Chibi and my Megalos too. But then I got the 2-for-1 combo and now it was a 2v2 and I was feeling nervous. But I showed them who the real king was. The next 2 days were spent on the surface collecting supply drops, and I got this really nice sniper blueprint, which is something I had been wanting. That means most of day 80 was spent grinding to craft that sniper. Of course, I painted it and tested it. Yeah, he stood no chance whatsoever. The next day I was searching for Reapers when I found this level 100, so I led it back to my trap. However, I wasn't going to make progress with this one bothering me. So I let it away, only to find that my trap was now empty. I'm speechless. Hello, Speechless. I'm Dad. Your next job is to trap this level 140 Reaper, only for your game to crash, which will result in the death of your glowtail Ryan.
No!
Bruh. Day 82, I took my tributes to the Rockwell terminal to see what I still needed. I left them there, and this will be important information later. But the rest of the day I spent gardening and learned you can feed rock drakes stem berries and they'll poop like a Phiomia. While I was in the blue zone, I watched this monkey get attacked by a megalo. Did anyone else forget about my Moz chops from day 2? I spotted this low-level monkey and I wanted him to be my friend, so I gave him berries. When he tamed, I named him Henry and we immediately bonded. Henry actually had a prestigious job throwing me onto my cliff platform so I didn't have to use a snail speed elevator. The next day I found this high-level baryonyx and deemed it a good tame. While it was taming, I searched for a new glowtail since my other one was unfairly executed. I tamed a decent one, and now that my baryonyx was tamed, Day 86 doesn't exist. All I know is that I tamed a blue featherlight and named it Mordecai. Day 87 through 89 were 90% night, so you know what that means. So as you saw, I grabbed a really good rock drake saddle blueprint on the surface, and now I have the grand privilege to grind for it. Delightful. So here I am, fighting a rock drake when I spot the elusive alpha basilisk. I went back to base to get my stronger rock drake, and when I got back I proceeded to kill the alpha basilisk. The rest of the day was spent grinding, and by day 91 I crafted the rock drake saddle. The rest of the day was spent gathering the last of the tribute items, which happened to be nameless venom. I made some more preparations for the final battle, such as making saddles and healing my dinos at a nearby plant species Z. I didn't get a whole lot done day 93. I painted Mordecai so he could fit his name better, did a bit of gardening, and sat on the toilet. And then I made a very important discovery. I discovered how to make a do-rag. Yep, that's pretty much the only interesting thing that happened that day. I'm running out of things to do, and that's why I decided to make an epic cinematic. Oh, crap. Oh my word. Oh my word. I'm like 99% sure I would have died if I didn't clutch that fall by riding my rock drake. Mom said it's my turn to get wrecked by the shrooms. Day 96, I painted my gear for the Rockwell battle. I was either gonna win or get destroyed, in style. Day 97 through 98, I collected drops on the surface to pass the time. I didn't really need the loot, but it was the only interesting thing to do until day 100. I led the stego onto the surface, and when it became morning, I was shocked to see it was not burnt alive. I became afraid. Its power was beyond my comprehension. I lose sleep thinking about it. And here it is, day 100. No more procrastinating. I had everything. Except Ark decided to delete the tributes that I left in the terminal back on day 82. So yeah, I used commands to give myself the tributes. I figured it was justified. This is where things started to go a little bit sideways, but I still had hope. This is where I started to lose hope. And this is where pretty much all hope was lost. Oh, that hurt. That hurt a lot. But hey, I died on day 101, which means technically I survived 100 days.